you're not going to get more time. And this is the irony of that. When you look at those 4 focus factors, I ask people all the time, well, which do you think is the most valuable? And people kind of hem and haw and whatever. And then, they're all valuable, of course. But what's the most valuable of those 4 focus factors is time. And why is that? Because you don't get any more. Time is the only resource that is not renewable. Most people are going around acting as if they'll live forever. And so that's the irony, is that time is the one resource we don't get more of, and yet it's the one that most people waste the most of.
You are now listening to the podcast where authors inspire listeners to become authors, the Going North Podcast. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer, best-selling author, and book enthusiast, Dom Brightman. And you're going to be listening to a different author that will inspire you to join the business of immortality, known as authorship. Now let the fun begin. Today's episode is sponsored by both books, Going North, Tips and Techniques to Advance Yourself, and the follow-up bestseller, Stay the Course, The Elite Performer's 7 Secret Keys to Sustainable Success. Head over to Amazon.com, pick up both books. They are available in a trifecta of paperback, audio, and ebook. Cop all 3 of both and be on the lookout for another book from yours truly to help podcasters succeed. Now let's get on with today's episode. And today on the highlight reel builder for authors known as the Going North Podcast, we got another super special, awesome human for you today. That's right indeed. And my goodness, and I got to put the emphasis on super special and awesome for real, because today's guest in particular, my goodness, my man has been endorsed by thousands, if not hundreds, especially some of the elite, the top 0.1% of humans on freaking earth in the personal development industry and beyond. Even's got celebrities too. My goodness, indeed. You know him. You love him when I say his name, indeed, because he is not only your regular keynote speaker, but my man is the father of affirmations, baby, and the mental health coach to the stars. So let's give it up for the one, the only, the natural, stupendous, and jovial himself, the one and only Dr. Noah St. John. How you doing today, Dr. Noah?
The crowd goes wild. Thanks, Dom. Great to be here.
Woohoo! It is great to have you here. Honored you were able to carve out some time to pop on Going North.
My pleasure.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Well, since it's probably interview number 565 for you.
Plus 1,000 or so, yes.
Exactly. It's like you look up your name and it's like interviews for days, and heck, even found your old podcast from a few years ago, no less.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, sir.
So my goodness, so if you were to basically sum up your journey till now in 3 words, what would they be and why?
Overcoming lots of pain. That's 4 words. So if we could make lots of into 1 word, overcoming lots of pain. There you go. There's 3 words for you. Yeah. A lot of pain, emotional pain, physical pain, spiritual pain. But yeah, I mean, it's been quite a journey. I mean, I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood, and, I know that's a total cliche, but it's true. I grew up in a little town called Kennebunkport, Maine, which is one of the wealthiest communities in New England, but my family was dirt poor. I mean that literally. We lived at the bottom of a dirt road in a drafty, unfinished house that my parents ended up losing to foreclosure when I was just 15. So I grew up, experiencing the chasm between the haves and the have-nots. The haves was everyone else in the community. The have-nots was my family. And, I hated being poor. I just hated it. But I didn't know how to get out of it. So I went to the library and read lots of books. This was, of course, long before the internet. And I just read lots of books on self-help, personal growth, and, really tried to get them to work. But I just couldn't seem to get them to work as hard as I worked. I just couldn't seem to get it to work. And so at age 25, I decided to take my own life. I decided to commit suicide. At the last moment, my life was spared. I didn't know why. But I went on a journey after that to find, what is my purpose here on the earth? If my life was spared, there had to be a reason. And what is that reason? And then in 1997, I had two epiphanies and I realized my purpose here on the earth. And in 1998, I published my first book, which was called Permission to Succeed. It was subsequently published by the Chicken Soup for the Soul publisher. And now, 21 books later, we're in over 140 countries around the world. We've helped, hundreds of thousands, actually over 1 million people to change their lives and help entrepreneurs make 6, 7, even 8 figures in record time while winning their lives back. So it's really been an amazing journey.
Heck yeah, indeed. Heck yeah, indeed. And so glad you're still here too, because that
Thank you.
definitely sucks a lot to have suicidal thoughts. Because
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of it seems like kind of crazy on the outside looking in for those who may have dealt with adversity before, but some of them just can't take it. Indeed. So,
Mm-hmm.
in a way, any words of encouragement for those who maybe sadly might be dealing with those thoughts right now?
Well, for me, it wasn't just a thought; it was actually going to do it. I mean, I made that decision and I went to do it. So it's way more than just thinking about it for me. So for me, and I have subsequently helped a lot of people to get out of that kind of depression, as well as people who aren't necessarily depressed but aren't reaching the goals that they want. They're really just hitting that ceiling in their lives, whether it's in their money, their finances, their business, their health, their relationships, their happiness, their fulfillment. Just really overcoming that. I call it the income ceiling syndrome, but it could be called the happiness ceiling syndrome. My point being is that my words of encouragement would be that there is help available. When I decided to commit suicide, I definitely felt all alone. And I felt like nobody understood me. I felt like I couldn't talk to anyone. And what is ironic about that is that now everybody is talking about mental health. Well, I've been teaching mental health for 25 years. And yet 5 years ago, you couldn't say mental health. And ironically, because of the pandemic, lots of celebrities started talking about mental health, which made it okay for the rest of us to talk about mental health. And so I'm like, thanks for coming to the party. You're about 20 years too late, everybody, but I'm glad you finally got here. So, yeah, I mean, it really, it is funny because I've helped people make over $2 billion. My clients, whether one-on-one clients or coach or group coaching or keynote speaking all around the world for companies, organizations, teams. This is what I've been teaching for 25 years, and now it's okay to talk about it. But really, it's not just about money. It's about really living what I like to call the 7-figure life. That is the title of the new book. In fact, the 7-figure life: how to leverage the 4 focus factors for more wealth and happiness. And so, this is something I've been teaching for many, many years now. Helps a lot of people to live that life of more wealth and abundance and happiness. And it really is very fulfilling once you start to leverage these things and put them in place in your life.
Heck yeah, indeed. And that's freaking huge, man. Like
Mhm.
millions, $2 billion collectively and counting too. Because the good news is it ain't even over yet. He's still counting.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still kicking.
So my goodness, the 7-figure life. It's like
Mhm.
6-pack abs and an extra ab.
That's right. Why not? Throw another one in there.
So what led to this title, man? What led you to put this book out there for folks, my man?
This is something, as I mentioned, I've been teaching people, helping my coaching clients, whether one-on-one or group coaching or keynote speaking for well over 20 years now. And so one of the things that people write to me about all the time on social media, or they contact me on my website, is they say, no, I'm really having trouble focusing. There's so many distractions out there, and I find myself procrastinating. I know what I should be doing, but I'm just not doing it. And that's a very, very common thing now. And as I've been teaching for many years, we live in a world of infinite distractions. I mean, at our fingertips every second are these wonderful machines of infinite distraction called our smartphones. And of course, the social media companies want you to be addicted. They want to keep you distracted because that's how they make their billions of dollars, is by showing you advertising. And so they have, people, engineers and psychologists and everything working on this, to how do we keep them addicted, to our platform so we can keep making money. That's just one simple example. I mean, you can watch cat videos on YouTube for the next 10,000 lifetimes and never be done with it. So this is one big thing. And that's why, as I mentioned, the title of the book is The 7-Figure Life. And the subtitle is How to Leverage the 4 Focus Factors for More Wealth and Happiness. So it really is about leveraging these four focus factors so that you can actually really take what you have, leverage what you already have so you can get more of what you really want.
Amen to that, and amen to that
Mhm.
indeed. And there's some good focus points indeed, and it's actually good you mentioned distractions because I believe that was the first one when it comes to leveraging your time. Because if you're distracted all the time, you can't really leverage your time at all.
Well, that's exactly right. And it's so funny when people hear the title, The Seven Figure Life, they figure it's all about money, right? Ah, it's another book all about money. And there's a lot of great books out there talking about money. And mine does talk about money. But the point is that and I love to use this example, with my coaching clients and with my keynote speeches. But here's what I like to do. I like to say, all right, I tell you what, let's play a little game here. Let's pretend I'm going to give you $1 million. Okay, I'm going to give you $1 million, and there's just one stipulation, and that is you have absolutely no time to enjoy it. You have to work all the time and you have no time to enjoy it. Does that sound like a good deal? And people are like, No, that doesn't sound that great, really. No. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $1 million and you have to be angry, miserable, and depressed all the time. Sound good? No, that's not very good. No. All right, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $1 million, but you can't enjoy it with anyone. You have to be all by yourself and you can't have any relationships. All right, sound great? No, none of that sounds any good. Right. So that's how I like to show people how this actually works together, because the four focus factors that I teach in my coaching and in my books is those four factors: time, energy, relationships, and money. Time, energy, relationships, and money. It's easy to remember. You call it term. We call it the term, TERM, like a term paper in high school or college, except this is the fun kind of term paper that's actually going to give you the life that you want. So what's amazing about when you look at those four focus factors is a couple of things. One is that every single person has these four things already, right? You already have time. I mean, you're not dead, so you still have time, right? You have energy. You're not dead. You have energy, right? You have relationships. So probably you're not a hermit living in the woods somewhere. So you probably have relationships, and you have money. Oh, but here's what the other thing is. Everybody says, oh, but Noah, I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I don't have relationships. I don't have the money. Right. And everybody sits around wishing and hoping, oh, I wish I had more time. I wish I had more energy. I wish I had more money. Well, guess what? Wishing and hoping is not a strategy. So that's why in the book, as well as in my coaching and training programs, I give you the strategy so that you can use those things. But here's what I want people to keep in mind: you already have them. Now, of course, you might be saying to yourself, but no, I don't have enough. I get that. But my point is that, it's not like you're going to get more time, because time just is, right? You have the same amount of hours in the day as Mark Cuban, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, everybody else, right? You have energy, right? And energy is replaceable, right? You can renew your energy. And actually, that's what, one of the things that I teach you. And of course, relationships. Now, we've probably all heard the fact that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So guess what? Sometimes we have to up level our relationships. Maybe you need to hire a coach. Maybe you need to hire a mentor or join a mastermind group or really up level those relationships. But that's something you can absolutely do. You have control of that. And then, of course, money. And the way that money works is you have some and everyone else has all the rest. So the point is, we've got to leverage what we have so that we can get more of what we really want. I give you tons of examples of that from my clients, who've done that, taken these focus factors, leveraged them, and really gotten what we like to call hockey stick growth. That hockey stick meaning like you're going along a certain way, and then you put these things in place, and whoop, it just goes like through the roof, really, really quickly.
Woohoo! And then the fireworks will go off. It'll be like
Mm-hmm.
goal.
Oh, all right, exactly.
That's right indeed. That's right indeed. And it's actually great and powerful that you're able to put it in those four things, and even more powerful to help folks realize, hey, you already have these things. And you're so
That's
right
right.
about time itself. You got the same time as these great folks, celebrities and whatnot. And funny
Mhm.
enough, it actually reminds me of the crazy folks who like to think a little too deep about things. Be like, how in the world do I have the same amount of time as Beyonce? Like, what do
Mhm.
you mean? It's like
Mhm.
it's like when you think about it, you actually do.
That's correct. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is something I've been teaching my coaching clients for a long, long time, is that, you're not going to get more time. And this is the irony of that. When you look at those four focus factors, I ask people all the time, well, which do you think is the most valuable? And people kind of hem and haw and whatever. And then, well, they're all valuable, of course. But what's the most valuable of those four focus factors is time. And why is that? Because you don't get any more. Time is the only resource that is not renewable. All of Bill Gates' billions can't buy 1 minute of yesterday. And the irony of that is that most people are going around acting as if they'll live forever, right? And so that's the irony, is that time is the one resource we don't get more of, and yet it's the one that most people waste the most of. So just if you learn to leverage your time just a little bit, just 10% better, man, you're going to see that hockey stick growth in record time.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about. Might even get that Wayne Gretzky scrag and be a champion in your own life.
Indeed. Yes.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, my goodness. So, what was the process of finally getting it down to these four wonderful things and making it to this great formula? What was the process like? Because you got all this wonderful knowledge and all this expertise you gathered over the years. I know sometimes you may have so many ideas. Like, how do you actually made it so simple as you did?
I paid the gurus, all those guys out there, I paid them over $750,000 over the last 20 plus years, only to find out they can't teach their way out of a paper bag. They truly suck at teaching. They just suck at it. They're great self promoters, they're great self marketers, but they can't teach their way out of a paper bag. And so I paid them all this money and they taught me basically nothing. And I'm like, man, that sucks. And so what I had to do was, after, spending all that time, money, and effort and getting really nothing from those clowns, I realized, wait a minute. All right. So where I get my ideas now really is through meditation. When I meditate, I was literally just thinking about, okay, how do I go from where I am to where I want to be? And as I was thinking about that, I realized that I have those four focus factors, just like everyone else: time, energy, relationships, and money. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Let me give you a quick example of that. I was talking with one of my clients. His name's Charles. And I said, Charles, and he had read my book, one of my books. He actually he told me the story that he passed one of my books in Barnes and Noble 3 times. He walked by it 3 times, and finally it just called out to him, and he had to buy it. He got halfway through the book, and he contacted me on my website, and he said, "No, I want to hire you as my coach." So, see, that's why I love working with high performers. They're action takers, right? They don't dilly dally. They don't mess around. They just say, let's do it." And so, he hired me basically on the spot. But as we were talking, I said, Charles, how much do you think this is going to cost you if we don't put these things in place right now? Like over the next 12 months, how much do you think you're going to lose out on? And without batting an eye, he said, $1 million. This is going to cost me $1 million if I don't put this in place. And I said, you know what? First of all, I hear that a lot. I mean, a lot of people that I talk to, whether it's group coaching or one-on-one, they say, Noah, not having this in place is costing me $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 every single month. So I'm losing anywhere from 6 to 7 figures a year if I don't have this in place. So that's number one. So first of all, it's very common. Secondly, I tell you what, I said, why don't you give me just 10% of that $1 million, and I will find you that $1 million in the next 12 months. In other words, if you give me $1 and I give you $10 back, is that a good deal? He said, yeah, that's a really good deal. He said, okay. So he did it. He paid me $100K. That's 10% of $1 million, right? So I coached him for 12 months. In that year, I didn't find him $1 million in 12 months. I found him $1.8 million in 10 months. Ooh. So you talk about hockey stick. He gave me $1, I gave him $18 back. Is that a good deal? No, that's a great deal. And not only that, he sent me an email. He said, hey, Noah, guess what? I'm on vacation with my wife. We just bought a new RV, and we're going to take the next 7 weeks off. We're going to drive around the Southwest in our new RV. And so he said, Noah, not only am I making more money, but I have more time than ever before. And that's because of learning how to leverage these four focus factors that I talk about in the book.
Sweet. Amen to that. Amen to that. And that's definitely powerful too. And glad you mentioned the whole meditation piece to help you to really crystallize and clarify everything too. Because sometimes we may even go so far as hiring a lot of folks. And sometimes it's like, oh, maybe just a little meditation in addition to hiring the right folks. So help you to get that edge.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Well, you just have to do your research. That's what I tell people all the time. Listen, just do your homework. I've been doing this for over 25 years now, since 1997. I have a track record unmatched in the industry. And the point is, this is about system-driven success, not personality-driven success. See, when you look at those guys out there, the gurus and everything, it's all about their personality. And they have larger-than-life personalities. That's great for them. But the problem is, what if I don't have that personality? Well, I guess you're out of luck. So the point is, it's about installing these systems. So what I help my clients with, one-on-one, group coaching, keynote speaking, it's about installing these inner game and outer game systems that enable you to leverage these 4 focus factors so that you get more time, you have more energy, you have better relationships, and yes, you have a lot more money in many cases. You have a lot more money. Like we had one woman from Arizona who's in one of my recent one of my groups. It's called the 12-week breakthrough. I have a program called the 12-week breakthrough because I help you make more in 12 weeks than you did in the past 12 months while winning your life back. And she actually tripled her investment in 2 weeks as a result of my coaching. We hadn't even gotten to the money part yet, and she tripled her investment. That's what
Wow.
can happen when you start to leverage these focus factors.
That is amazing indeed. That's amazing indeed.
Mhm.
So my goodness, my goodness. So with putting this book together, and I even bought the audiobook too. It sounds like it was an
Mm.
interview process. Were there any setbacks along the way with putting this book out, with like the pressure of having bestsellers in the past? It's like, all right, this one's even more leaner and meaner. Like, was there any pressure coming into putting this book out compared to the other ones?
That's a great question. I don't feel any pressure whatsoever. I've proven my point 100 million times over. So I mean, 2 billion times over actually. So no, I don't have anything else to prove. I don't, but what's nice is, and what's really very rewarding is when you go on Amazon and you see all my, 20 plus books on there and you see the 5-star reviews. And for this particular book, The 7-Figure Life, what's really nice is many of my longtime readers are leaving really nice 5-star reviews. And they're saying, Noah's work just keeps getting better. His books just keep getting better. And I really love hearing that, of course, because it's very rewarding. And it's also exactly what I hoped they would say, because, one of the things that bugs me about this industry is that everybody out there is just regurgitating what everybody else says. You hear the same stories and the same, it's like, oh my God, set your goals and think positive and you can do, I'm going, oh my God, if I hear that one more time, I'm going to scream, And so that's why, I I have done this for 20 plus years, is to teach things that are different, that give you a different spin on this whole idea of wealth, happiness, fulfillment, success, whatever you wish to call it. And, really all of that has come from, yes, I spend a lot of money giving all that money to those clowns, finding there's no there there. There's literally no there there. And I go, wow, thanks a lot, guys. And then really just realizing, wait a minute, if I just listen, I can come up with these different things. Again, there have been a few good mentors, but very few. And so for the folks listening, I want you again to reiterate that, yes, just do your homework. Make sure that whoever you hire as a coach, whether it's one-on-one or group, that it's about systems. It's not about personality, because that's the point. You can't replicate someone's personality. That's who they are. Well, you're not them, so if they don't have a system, then you're out of luck. So you got to make sure you're hiring someone, you're working with someone who gives you and teaches you step by step, plug and play, fill in the blank systems, checklists, resources. That's exactly what we give you, both in my books and in my coaching and training and online courses. And that's what I love to hear, is that people say, no, I love how you make it so simple. And I wish that someone would have given this to me 40 years ago. I'd be a billionaire by now, because they just never gave me anything. I had to figure it out on my own. So that's my job now, is to help people to, just get there a heck of a lot faster, frankly, faster than I got
Amen to that. Actually reminds me of one of my favorite underlines from your book, Simplicity Scales Where Complexity Fails.
there. Indeed. Yes. Well, yeah, it's very true. And in fact, there's a quote by Oliver Wendell Holmes that I really love. And he said many years ago, I would not give a fig for simplicity on the near side of complexity, but I would give my life for simplicity on the far side of complexity. See, and that's what we have today. Everything on social media is simplicity on the near side of complexity. That just means it's stupid. Set your goals, think positive, you can do it. Okay, thanks a lot. That says nothing, right? You just said nothing. And yet that's all social media. That's all you're going to get. It's stupid and useless. So what I teach, and have been teaching for 25 years now, is simplicity on the far side of complexity. That means, it takes a little while to get there, but once people realize, wait a minute, this is really boiled down to its simplest form: time, energy, relationships, money. Oh, I totally get that. And then in the book and in my coaching and the training, I literally show you how to leverage it, because it's one thing to say those things, but then now what am I supposed to do? And that was always my question to those clowns. What am I supposed to do now? And they never answered the question. They literally never answered it. That was very frustrating after giving them all that money. So, my job is to answer the damn question and say, here's what you actually do. And, that's why we see this hockey stick growth, 6, 7, 8 figures, over and over and over and over again. One of my clients, just another quick example, Susan, she was $60,000 in debt. And that debt had come from spending money on self-help programs. She'd spent all this money on all these gurus, and she was about to lose everything. She's about to lose her home. She's about to lose her marriage. Her husband said, "I can't take it anymore. You're spending all this money. We're not getting better. We're getting worse. I can't take it." So she hired me, to coach her. And in less than 12 weeks, we helped her go from $60,000 in debt to a six-figure income, her dream job, in less than 12 weeks after she had tried everything else out there. So that's what happens when you find simplicity on the far side of complexity.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. And outside looking in, the average person who may have heard self-help may think, oh, yeah, he's helping them get out their comfort zone. But funny enough, you actually don't even teach folks to get out their comfort zone. So am I going deeper into that, my man?
Well, yeah, I teach there's no such thing as a comfort zone. There is no such thing. And here I can prove it to everyone right now. And by the way, notice that that's a cliche, right? Everybody and their brother says, get out of your comfort zone, get out of your comfort zone. And it's like, okay, so that's another example. Like I kept thinking about, because you hear all these cliches, everybody says the same thing. I'm like, is that really true? And the answer is no, it isn't true. And I can prove it. So imagine if you are, as I like to call it, driving down the road of life with one foot on the brake. That means you keep hitting this income ceiling. You keep not getting the results you want. You keep not reaching the level of success you're capable of. Well, is that feeling comfortable? No, it's decidedly uncomfortable. And yet, what it is familiar. It's familiar because it's something you've done many, many times over many, many years. So it is not comfortable, it's familiar. And by the way, if you look at that word familiar, what is the root of the word familiar? Family, right? So many of these things, in fact, 95% of what I teach, it comes from the subconscious mind. That means what I teach is, the power habits of unconsciously successful people, what highly successful people are doing unconsciously that they can never teach you because they don't even know they're doing it. So it took the nerdiest nerd in the industry. That would be me, right? I had to study all these clowns, realize what they're doing that they don't tell you. And then I went, oh my gosh, they're leaving out all the good stuff. That's precisely why people, we get 1.8 million in 10 months, 60,000 in debt to a six-figure income in 12 weeks, tripling your investment in 2 weeks, and on and on and on and on and on and on, because of that very thing. See, I go past the cliches because the cliches are useless.
Sweet. Amen to that. Amen to that. Just love the way you're thinking. That's definitely some high level thinking indeed. So my goodness, since you've been on hundreds, soon to be, if not thousands of interviews on both sides of the microphone, is there a question that you wish folks would ask you more often when you're being on these interviews?
I don't know. Everybody asked me pretty good questions. You're doing great. I really like your questions. You're a great interviewer. No, I pretty much covered it. I mean, that's I yeah. I mean, look, listen. I talk anywhere from a 20-minute after dinner speech to a 3-day weekend seminar. So I mean, I could talk for a long, long time. But the point is that I really want to reiterate for folks that really you have these 4 focus factors. You already have time, energy, relationships, money. Yes, I know you don't have what you want, but I want you to realize that you can leverage them. You can leverage what you already have so you can get more of what you really want. I mean, my gosh, I am living proof of that. If somebody could go from deciding to commit suicide at age 25 to the life that I have today, anybody can do it. And frankly, I've helped people do it a lot faster than I had to do it, because I had to do it all by myself. And that always takes longer when you're trying to figure it out all by yourself. So I just want people to realize there is hope. And yet I do want to point out that hope is not a strategy. You definitely need to have these systems in place. So hope is not enough. It's a good start, but we really want to put these systems in place for you so you can get that hockey stick growth too.
Woohoo! Hooray for hockey sticks, baby. That's right, indeed. Made out of the best wood ever. That's right, indeed.
You got it.
When they say they wish somebody would, that means just pick up this book and read it and listen to it. Get in your brain, soak in it. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. IV yourself to it like it's Kool-Aid. That's right. That's right. Not the Jim Jones Kool-Aid, though. This is the Noah St. John Kool-Aid. You get to
Yeah, I
live
like
and
it.
thrive.
I like it. I like it. Drink the Kool-Aid. Very good. I like it. Yeah. Yeah.
Woohoo! Well, since you're a wonderful coach, especially to the stars, what was probably the biggest lesson that you've learned from your coaching clients that made you a better coach?
I have been teaching mental health for 25 years, but you couldn't say mental health 5 years ago. If you can remember that far back, before the pandemic, absolutely no one was talking about mental health. I mean, I've been teaching it for 25 years, but you couldn't even say mental health. They'd say, "Oh, cart them off to the loony bin, mental health." Now everybody's talking about mental health. I'm like, thanks for showing up, guys. It's like, thanks for coming to the party. I've been here 25 years. Glad you could make it. But that's really what it is. So what's really awesome, and I mean, I'm very glad about that celebrities, Ryan Reynolds, Adele, and Michael Phelps, and just on and on and on, all these celebrities now is the cool thing, right, to talk about mental health. Before it was a taboo subject. So I'm like, good job, guys, thanks a lot. This is what I've been already doing for a quarter century now. So but it's really, really nice because now I can say mental health. Before, you really couldn't say it. And so I'm very glad about it because it's like, yep, this is what I'm doing for a long time now. So come on in.
There we go. Come on in, indeed. And I guess when you invite folks to come on into your home, there's sometimes some dinner too. So if your wonderful book, The Seven Figure Life, if that book were a food, what would it be and why?
Jeez, wow. I think it'd be lobster because man, I grew up in Maine and lobster. That's my favorite. By the way, it's pronounced lobster with no R at all. So yeah, definitely be lobster. Just a nice, fresh, fresh out of the ocean, fresh, hot steaming lobster. Because man, is that good? And it's rich. It tastes great, and it's good for you. All good stuff.
So folks should lob their heads into this book then.
Ah, nicely done. Nicely done.
Oh, man. Well, all right, then coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is if you'd wake up tomorrow and you were 25 again, but you're still in the current year, what advice would you give to yourself?
Do your homework when it comes to the gurus. Make sure you don't give any money to these personality guys. Make sure you only work with system guys, system driven people who teach systems, both inner game and outer game. And you'll get there a heck of a lot faster than you did. So, absolutely. Yeah. Make sure system driven success, all systems, inner game, outer game, and that will absolutely get you there a heck of a lot faster.
Woohoo! Solid advice indeed, and it's advice you rarely hear too, because that's actually that's gold star advice too. That's actually
Thank
how
you.
McDonald's became a franchise. They
That's
do
totally true. Absolutely.
right indeed. They're buying that system, baby. They want the system for themselves. That's right indeed. They
Mhm.
want their own wealth station, not just a PlayStation. That's right.
Nice.
Indeed, that's right indeed. Well, for those who need to check out the systems you have to offer and keep up with your journey, because a man's always cranking out some good stuff, what's the best way for folks to do so?
You can get the book sevenfigurelifebook.com. So it's the seven figure life. So the number seven, sevenfigurelifebook.com. Just purchase the book on Amazon or anywhere and go back to sevenfigurelifebook.com. And I'll give you $300 of free bonus gifts because you're listening to this program. Do that at sevenfigurelifebook.com. And if you want to watch a cool training video I just did on how I help my clients make more in just 12 weeks than they did in the past 12 months while winning their lives back, go to breakthroughwithnoah.com. Easy to remember. Breakthroughwithnoah.com. You can learn about my 12-week breakthrough program and some of the other things we're doing. All that's at breakthroughwithnoah.com. And our main website is just my name, noahstjohn.com. You can see all my books and courses and coaching and also keynote speaking there at noahstjohn.com.
Oh, we heard that right, folks. NoahSt.John.com and of course the sevenfigurelifebook.com as well. We'll put all those links in the magical show notes because our man has got the arc of safety to take you to your next level, baby. That's right indeed. The whole content's an arc, baby. That's right indeed. Well, everybody else is drowning in metaphorical failure without the system. A man's got the system arc for you. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. And heck, you might even be able to let them on the arc too. So check out what my man is offering And Dave will put all that in the show notes that way he can keep up with all the stuff that he's doing, because I already know this is probably far from his last book. He's probably got 10 more waiting to crank out on the world to devour.
I do, in fact. Yes, I do.
Oh, man. Well, any parting words before we close up shop, Dr. Noah?
This has been a heck of a lot of fun, and you're a great interviewer. And I just, for the folks listening, do let me know you heard me on this program with Dom, and my team and I will be sure to take great care of you and give you that VIP treatment that you deserve.
If you're hearing this part of the episode, that means you're one cool individual. Thanks a bunch for tuning in, and if you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to share it with at least one other person in your network. Bonus points for 3. And be sure to check out the backlog too while you're at it, because there are hundreds of wonderful episodes to choose from as well.